Welcome to Primordial Creative. This is my home studio. I'm David Miller, multimedia artist and educator. Today is going to be a INFP creative themed episode, and it's going to be very general towards all the arts. As an INFP, I'm idealistic and I think about the way I want the world to be, the way I want my life to be, and then I kind of aim for that as much as I can, but I'm also very introverted. So going out there and, taking the bull by the horns is not my style. Actually, being on YouTube and filming myself and talking is so opposite my general style, which is where I kind of like blend in with the background, like a chameleon, like a ninja, and, try and stay out of the way, let the art represent itself. But the biggest challenge as an INFP creative is when you are somebody who is not, super extroverted, super bossy, we could say, or somebody who like jumps out there and takes charge and prefers to like kind of hang back in the cut, is that you get sucked into a lot of stuff, especially by people who are extroverts, who are take charge people, who do say, hey, I really like what you do. I found your work on Skillshare, on YouTube. I have some projects. I would love to have you be part of those. I want to hire you for these things. This has happened to me countless times. And what ends up happening is something that is supposed to be like a simple, agreed upon 1 week of work becomes, we didn't have all the assets that we needed for this animation project on hand. So I know it was supposed to be 1 week, but now it's until we have the ask. It just like grows and grows. It becomes way more than is agreed upon. And they might throw more money at you, or they might promise more money that never comes. But getting sucked into things that were not my idealized life is probably the biggest thing that happens to me personally. I recently had an internship with a fitness company, and it was supposed to take a month. But, people at the upper level who were running the internship, they had COVID in the family, and then there were holidays. And, something that was supposed to be 3 weeks ended up 2 months long with no end in sight, so I had to bow out of it. But I hate being pushed to that point where I have to confront, like, this isn't what we agreed upon, and I need to check out of this project, because inevitably it makes me feel like somebody who didn't live up to my promise. Now, I did live up to my promise. I spent a week. I spent the 3 weeks. I showed up on time. I did what was asked of me. And it's inevitably the people running the show who are the extroverted people, the kind of pushy people that changed the agreements. They weren't able to follow through on the initial promises they made. And, things like getting sick and holidays. I know those are good reasons. But if it's not what's agreed upon, I'm out. And I've been trying to think of a way that I could avoid these situations in the future, because just saying, flat out, well, I won't do internships, I won't do freelance, I won't do this or that. I mean, it's all dependent on what the situation is. But when I ask myself, what is the dream? What was the dream? That will help me stay on the right path.
Can you come through the music business after years and still be you? Can you still be yourself and keep your soul and keep true to what your highest ideal was when you were a teenager and you wanted to sing? And what was your real reason for wanting to sing?
Was my dream to use my skills in service to these projects that I have no personal attachment for? Was my dream to be hired by a variety of people and put my creative skills towards them? And the answer is no. I think by asking myself what was the dream and defining what the dream was keeps me on the path towards achieving that dream and goal. Now, I'm not blind to other opportunities in life that could help me out. For example, when people think of their idealized partner in a romantic relationship, you don't narrow it down so much that you take a checklist, to your dates and say, okay, do they check this? Do they check this? Do they check this? But I've been in enough relationships that, worked against my actual dreams that I'm not going to get involved in those relationships anymore. I'm not going to get involved with somebody who dislikes my form of art or, tells me that I shouldn't travel, that I shouldn't shoot this kind of material, that it hurts their feelings because of what I have to do as an artist. And I think, the same for musicians, actors. They're going to be on the road, they're going to be away for 3 months. And if you're partnered with somebody who doesn't accept that, who constantly calls and complains about you being gone, then you shouldn't be partnered with that person because it's an unfair relationship. It's unfair to you as the creative, and it's unfair to the person at home who is feeling these feelings when you're away doing what you have to do for your vocation. If you're with somebody who understands your vocation, supports it, isn't emotionally or mentally hurt by you being gone, if you can find out how to have agreed upon things, then you can make it work. Same with your dreams as a creative. There are people out there who want to make a particular vision of movie, comic, book, photography, painting, and they get involved in projects that are learning opportunities, perhaps like making commercials. They can reframe things into being learning opportunities on the way to the dream. But if you're already advanced in your skills and abilities past the point where you need to learn on the job from doing things that are not part of the dream, I think you need to avoid that. Or you need to learn to say, no, this isn't the vision. This isn't what I do as a creative. Somebody who does murals that are abstract or have some sort of socio-political content, I think the dream is to stick with that and not devalue yourself or break your integrity as an artist by saying, I know how to paint, therefore I'm going to also paint houses on the side. I once had somebody I worked with in a education setting say to me, oh, you're such a great artist. You should go to the restaurants and offer to, paint the advertisements in their windows. I'm like, that is so far from the dream. And I just I didn't even know what to say to that person because the suggestion was so absurd. But if you're out there, if you're an INFP creative, stick with your dreams. Don't get distracted, because distraction is the big enemy of all creatives. We are working on our novel, we're working on our book, we're working on our photography, we're writing songs, and we check social media every hour, and it pulls us out of the zone. We have to turn off our computer at a certain time of night because the significant other is home, and we're not done with our work, and we were in the zone, but because the significant other doesn't like the work that we make, we close the computer screen. That is something that was really common to me in my previous relationship. I always had to stop what I was doing when she came home. And I feel like it delayed a lot of my career for a long period of time, and it brought about a lot of resentment between us because I felt like I had to keep what I was doing completely separate from the home life. Some people can live with that. As an INFP creative, as somebody who needs to be authentic at all times, and as somebody who is really only best creatively when I'm in the zone and can't be pulled out of it to do other things on other people's schedules, it just didn't work for me in the long run. And to think that it would work for me was, again, a source of resentment. In a lot of ways, it was damaging psychologically, emotionally, financially. I truly believe that being authentic at all times is something the INFP creative has to be. And whatever sort of spiritualism you have, it's why we were put here. And when we stop ourselves from doing what we were put here to do, it's offensive. It's offensive to whatever created us. It's offensive to our core beings, our authentic selves. And wherever you are in the world, whatever it is you're involved in, I want to encourage you, continue being your authentic self. If there are things that you find yourself sucked into, distracted by, that compromise you being your authentic self, find a way to turn off those distractions, say no, be firm. I know it's hard when you're an introvert and you're somebody who doesn't want to have conflict in your life, but believe me, if you don't verbalize what's important to you to other people, if you don't stand up for yourself, there still is conflict. It's just not external, it's internal, it's within you, and it's bringing you down. Best of luck to you in your creative endeavors. Talk to you next time.